Hello, everyone. Today we're going to take a look, of course, at the news. We'll check the indicators, we'll see what's happening with Bitcoin, and naturally, we'll dive into the technical analysis of Bitcoin and altcoins. Let's get settled for this big program with this crypto map that's always in the green. It's a pleasure. Look, honestly, it's normal. Since Bitcoin is still pushing a bit, naturally, when Bitcoin is in the green, everything else is in the green. And we savor this crypto map. Let's start directly with the news. A few more events have happened these past few days, especially yesterday. India and the United States are accelerating trade negotiations before Trump's tariffs take effect. A multi-phase agreement is expected soon, so for now, it's not yet finalized, but we'll see what's said about all that. Bernstein reiterates its prediction of $200,000 for Bitcoin, calling it a strong but conservative conviction. They haven't given a date, but in any case, it would be for this cycle. So that's quite interesting, $200,000. A lot of people are indeed turning towards $200,000 and more. We'll see what happens next, but $200,000, I think that might be a very high range for my taste for this cycle. American giant Guggenheim expands its digital debt product by leveraging the XRP ledger through a new partnership with Ripple. We also have, and this is super important, it's even just mind-blowing, the IBIT, BlackRock's ETF, becomes the fastest ETF to surpass $70 billion in only 341 trading days. That's 5 times faster than the previous record held by gold, according to Eric Balkanas. So indeed, I don't know if you realize this frenzy, the frenzy that attracts investors to Bitcoin, but this is still an absolute record. It shows that Bitcoin is an extremely sought-after crypto. It's just mind-blowing. Trump's CFTC candidate, Brian Quittens, calls blockchain a technology-shaping society and calls for clear crypto rules to keep the USA at the forefront of innovation. So that's excellent news. We know that Trump and his little clique absolutely want the USA to be the leading country in innovation, in blockchain, and in cryptocurrencies. So this continues in that direction. We like it. We are in the crypto ecosystem. So of course, we like this type of news. The American Bitcoin company, backed by Eric and Donald Trump Jr., has discreetly accumulated 215 bitcoins, over $23 million, since its launch in April in anticipation of its public merger. And so yesterday was the end of the second day of trade negotiations between the USA and China in London. Discussions are progressing well, apparently, but no final agreement has been found for now. But in any case, it's on the right track. They had already had a phone call that went very well. Now they've met. Well, we'll see what it will give in the long run. We're not there yet, but we might be heading towards a rather interesting agreement between the two parties. So, there you have it. It could happen in the next few days. All right, let's start the technical analysis section. Before that, of course, I remind everyone that everything I'm about to say is in no way financial advice. It's up to you to do your own research. And remember that cryptocurrency trading involves risks of partial or major losses. All right, let's start directly with the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, which goes to 72. So yesterday we were at 71. Today we're at 72. It's not a big difference. The index doesn't want to load, but that's okay. We have the number here. That's the most important. It's not a big difference. 61, 72. We obviously still remain in greed, so that's not going to change. And above all, it should be noted that today, starting at 2:30 p.m., we will have important information. So we will have the core CPI month over month for May, the CPI year over year for May, the CPI month over month for May. So that will indeed be very interesting to monitor. I remind you, these are indices concerning inflation. And precisely, all this is in view of the Fed making a decision on interest rates next week. You see, it will be on Wednesday. It will be Wednesday, June 18. So, indeed, we will have to monitor that day. It will be super exciting to see what the Fed will do about all this. Will we finally have a rate cut? Apparently not. There was still a Poly Market report that said, apparently, 95% of people think there will be no cut in June. Well, listen, we'll see. We're not going to speculate on things we don't know and can't predict for now. All right. Oh, my chart is here. So now we're going to look at what's happening with Bitcoin, of course. I'm taking my Bitcoin, which is here. This is my little Bitcoin. And what's happening with Bitcoin? Well, as you can see, we are still in a very good configuration, of course. Yesterday evening, I did a special flash to explain that Bitcoin was currently in a pullback phase. So that was completely normal. I won't dwell on it too much because I've already talked about it at length in my last 2 or 3 videos. But in any case, given the bullish push we had, we are in a pullback, which is a completely logical and healthy technical retracement. And so look at that. Yesterday, we still came back to retest with this wick 108,390. But in the end, we closed yesterday's day still relatively high. Yesterday, we closed the day here at $110,230. So now we are making daily closes at $110,000. So that's pleasing. So today we are still in the pullback phase. So, since we are in daily view, the pullback can last several days. If we were on a pullback on a smaller time scale, for example, 4 hours or 1 hour, of course, the pullback would have taken much less time. But here we are in daily view, so medium term. So naturally, the pullback can last 1, 2, 3, 4 days. It has already happened over 4 days. So we'll see. But for now, we are still right in the middle of it. So we are in the same technical analysis. That is, as long as we are above the key supports. So I remind you, we have 107,872. We will have 107,190. If we lose these key levels, we will come back to look for the top of the range here at 105,050. But I remind you that as long as we are above this top of the range, everything is fine. Bitcoin obviously remains bullish for now. Now be careful, a small warning. We made a high point here at 111,900. If we can't break this key level, careful not to make a lower high than the previous one here. That is, we made a high point here. And for now, we are at a lower high than the previous one. So we'll see if we can still go for a higher point. But otherwise, beware. Because if we start making lower and lower high points, and in the coming weeks, we retrace, then in that case, we would start a bearish trend. So for now, that's not the case. We are very, very far from it. For now, we are still bullish as long as we are above the top of the range. So as you can see, we still have a good safety margin. But nevertheless, I prefer to tell you about it now because we will obviously have to monitor all this in detail. We will have to watch out for not making a gigantic double top. For now, that's not the case. But nevertheless, caution. What I want is for us to finish this pullback phase, and then, once it's over, boom. We regain strength and make a higher high than the previous ones. We break the highest close ever made, until now, that is $111,810. We break this key level. We go for the liquidity wicks at $111,907. And why not? We try to break the historical long-term bullish trend line. And if we manage to break that, then in that case, indeed, we would make a higher high than the previous ones. And we could, of course, continue the bullish phase. What should be noted, and it's quite important, is that since yesterday, as you can see, we are on a bull momentum. Look, yesterday we made the bull cross. So there it is, the bull cross is validated. So yesterday we had the bull cross, and now we are starting, of course, the bull momentum, as you can see. So we are waiting to see the end of the pullback. We hope that the pullback will not retrace too violently. But behind it, what is rather beneficial is that, yes, we are regaining this bull momentum. So once the pullback is over, there is still hope that Bitcoin will continue its bullish phase. But on the other hand, we will have to be careful when we hit the resistances I was talking about earlier. So the ATH and the historical bullish trend line, we will still have at that moment some serious resistances. So, well, we'll see how it behaves at that moment. All right, let's take this opportunity to look at what's happening with Ethereum. Because Ethereum, of course, made a very nice close yesterday. Look, that's really magnificent what we just did. I said that Ethereum was like an elastic band. That is, in fact, here, as you can see, we had broken the range downwards. Remember, we had broken the range downwards, then we had reintegrated. And for those who remember, in my previous videos, I told you this is like an elastic band that you pull down and release. Well, look, you pull the elastic down and release. What happens? Well, it goes up. That's exactly what happened, if you remember that metaphor. Well, that's exactly what's happening. In general, when you pull the elastic and reintegrate the range from below, well, it's like releasing the elastic. What happens? It goes up. We theoretically go for the top of the range, so that's what happened to us. Yesterday, we went for the top of the range, and we even broke this range upwards, so we had to break the $2,738. Well, it's done. And so behind it, as you can see, we broke it. So today, of course, since we broke a strategic key level today and in the coming days, there is a strong chance that we will come back to retest this key level. So for me, As long as we are above 2,738, everything is fine. But be careful, Ethereum is very, very likely to retrace to come back and retest this key level. If this key level manages to hold, I remind you that we had very tight Bollinger Bands on the Ethereum side. So here, if this top of the range manages to hold and the pullback validates, in that case, we will very surely go back up and look for $2,900. We will go back up and look for $3,000 and maybe even higher points, especially here. I'll give you the next resistances. Go for, why not, 3,000 or 3,071 or even more. Why not here, 3,449? These are key levels to aim for in the coming weeks, as long as Ethereum is now above the key level I gave you. It should also be noted that Ethereum is in a tough spot. We won't lie. Yes, we had a very nice close yesterday, but we are still in a tough spot. Look, we are right in my difficulty zone. Here, you see it. This purple box. And yes, it is indeed a zone of all dangers, I want to say. And so, indeed, why am I talking about it? Because, in fact, it's this zone that caused Ethereum to retrace. Since we had gone back below, we retraced. When we went back above, we pumped. Here, we had gone back below, we retraced. So, indeed, it is, of course, a pivot point zone. So, this zone, I will give you the key levels. This zone is between 2,821 and 2,856. So here we absolutely have to go above this zone. And if we manage to break it, of course, then Ethereum could be completely free to go for much higher points. So we'll monitor that in the coming days. In any case, if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, share as much as possible. It helps with the referencing of my YouTube channel. And above all, subscribe to receive 1 or 2 videos every day concerning Bitcoin and altcoins. And most importantly, remember to activate the little bell to be notified. Have an excellent day, and see you later.